Well, hey y'all, welcome back. So, we are nearing the end here of our patio project, and it's time to install some lights. So, if you'd like to follow the patio project along, check the upper right-hand corner of your screen right now, and you can see how we added this basement egress door. But now we're to the point where we need to put some lights in out here. So I had asked my contractor to leave me some rings, and he's got these little 4-inch guys that he built into the stone here. So the stone brand is Provia, and they make these little light cutouts here that have 4-inch diameter holes in them. So that's actually stone, and it's specifically designed for having lights on. So I'm running into a bit of a problem here because I need to figure out a way to make the light interface bracket work with these holes. Traditionally, I mean, again, I think if you follow me, I'm going to make my disclaimer right now. I'm not an electrician. I'm an electrical enthusiast. Let's put it like that. Most of my stuff is touring, not so much home. So, it's mostly I'm using my best judgment and hoping for the best here. So, I did do a lot of research on this, and everything that I've seen, they do require a box, or most people are using a box. I get it. If it's a wood structure, you probably need one. Anybody that's watching this is an electrical contractor, feel free to just leave a comment below and tell me how wrong I am. But since it's on stone, in my mind, it's more of a mounting interface than solving any electrical arc problems. So let me show you what I've got. So I made myself some of these marine grade plastic rings here. This is a 1/2-inch piece of marine grade plastic. This is 4 inches in diameter. I do have a 4-inch hole. I very stupidly made this. I want to let me back that up. I made this 3 7/8. It still is too wide to fit in the hole. So my first instinct was to use these little guys as just basically a standoff. We'll mount this to the wall and we'll screw them together consecutively. I have 8 or so of these, and I just cut this on my CNC machine at work. And as a backup, because, well, I'm a roadie and I always have to have backups, I did get this box extension, this round wet location J box here. Problem is, this flange right here is wider than 4 inches. So when we look at it in the box, the way that you're supposed to mount it is like this. However, the way that it fits is like that. So that poses a problem that we have to address. So what I'm going to do is just take this little flange and grind this down. I don't need any of the J-box or any of the conduit ports here because obviously this is in a brick wall. So I'm just going to take this and grind this down. And then what we'll do is hopefully it will fit just like this. And then I can tap con it in using these back flange pieces right here. That's my plan. I'm not sure how that's going to work, and I don't know the diameter of these tapped holes right here, so I do need to figure that out too. So they don't look like normal. They're definitely not 632. They actually might be 1032. That's what my first instinct is, that they look like 1032s. But anyway, I'm going to get these flanges ground off, and we'll go from there. So let's take a look at the electrical side before we do this. So to complicate things, like most things generally are, my house I have a whole house generator. So about 80% of my house is on full generator backup. So one of the basement outlets is where we're going to tap our power from. So looking at the door here, we do have an outlet right where this ladder is right here. And this is actually a dedicated circuit. I traced this back to the transfer switch panel. So looking at the back here, when they did the doors, the masonry contractor did drill the holes through the brick, which I appreciate. So I have lights left and right, and then I also have this guy for a doorbell. So my first instinct is I just want to tap one of these Romex lines up here, or not one of them, the Romex line that goes to that outlet, and just drop a temporary box right here, because I mean eventually the plan is going to be to finish the basement, and there'll be a wall here with a real outlet done correctly, but this is just a temporary supply issue. So what I think I'm going to do in the meantime is malt the Romex up in the ceiling and just drop the box down here. That'll give me something hard that I can screw it into, because obviously I can't screw it into the masonry, because that's just gonna, I just think that's gonna be a problem. So for temporary solution, we're gonna get it malted and put a switch in right here. And then of course, again, here's my disclaimer, I'm not an electrician. So when we finish the basement, we'll have an electrical contractor do that for real. So I'm gonna get that started. So here we go. So got some tools. Got some Romex here. This is 14 gauge Romex. And this is the Romex that we're gonna malt. And now I realize this is pretty much gonna trash this Romex. So, this is a weird malt as far as supply goes, but it's easy and cheap enough to replace. I'm just gonna replace this. So I'm gonna make a cut right here. I've got my electrical tester here. I did shut the breaker off, so let's see if this is, let's see what happens. So if we cut it and the breaker trips, it's still hot, but it's not. So here we go. All right, that was uneventful, which is good. Now I can take my voltage tester here and just confirm that this is off, and it is. So we can take this guy just like this, and this guy just like this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna run each of these down. So this one in my left hand is our supply, and then this one feeds the outlet. So what I am gonna do first is I'm gonna strip back this jacketing. Okay. So I'm gonna strip this back and we'll get some lines run down. Not really the most exciting thing in the world to film, so stand by, I'll be right back. All right, so we're stripped down on here. So just so you know, because I'm sure that, I'm taking my own risks of getting called out in the comment section. Yes, this is 12 gauge, and yes, this is 12 gauge. Obviously, it's the same wire that's going to the wall outlet over there, and this is 14 gauge. But yes, it's this is a temporary solution. I'm in my house, and I'm doing this myself. And I know that one of you is going to say, "This guy's not an electrician," and you know what? I'm going to head you off at the pass. You're right, I'm not. So there you go. So what I am going to do here is we're just going to roughly measure our supply line. It comes down here, and we're going to just want this. So the number one rule in cable pulling is cut more than you need. So okay, so what I'm going to use to make our malt here is I'm going to use a Wago, and this is a life-changing product for those of you who don't know. You just take this little guy like this, open the little door, put him in there like that, and there you go. There's your malt. And then these are cool because you can undo these. So because this is a temporary thing, we can leave this like this, and then we can just undo it. I absolutely despise wire nuts. I think they are just the worst thing ever. So I think in terms of dangerous, especially when you're in a temporary kind of thing, having wire nuts are pretty much the worst thing ever. So Wagos are awesome, and they're fast. And they're sturdy. Can't say how much I like them enough. Maybe I can. I don't know. Okay. All right. There's our hot, our neutral, and our ground. We're just gonna leave that just like that. Okay. And we're gonna do that one more time for our plug. So stand by. Get that done. Okay, and since it drives me crazy when things aren't labeled, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna call these lights. I'll call this supply. So we'll get these stripped up here. Okay, so we've got our 3 levels of Romex, or our 3 pieces of Romex here. So we've got our supply line, our lights, and our switch. So we want to first, I should say we have to ground our box first. So hang on, I gotta steal a screw to do that. Okay, so for those of you who know, I'm sorry for the redundancy. For those of you who would like to know, here's how this works. So because we're making our malt here, and when I say that, here's what I mean. It is basically a split. It is 1 to 2, 1 to 3, that kind of thing. It's more of an audio term than a electrical term, but I'm not an electrician. See, second time mention that. I am an audio engineer, so this is like your sound guy's guide to electrical things. So we've got our switch, and the way that a switch works is it is a break in the hot. So this is hot in, hot out. And then, so that's how that's gonna work. So the supply, because we obviously don't want the outlet to be switched, the supply and the outlet power supply are gonna be joined, right? So we're gonna grab a Wago and use that to join the supply line. So this is gonna take our incoming supply and we are gonna split it to the outlet. So this is happening pre the switch, right? Now we're gonna take another supply line and we are gonna feed our switch. So the way we do that, I'm now missing being in my shop where I have rolls of wire. I just got this one piece of Romex for this project. I miss my shop, I have all my stuff there. So we're just gonna make a little patch out of this. So this is gonna be our little feed line for the switch. So I'm gonna do something that's a little bit of an extra credit move. I'm gonna crimp a ring terminal onto each portion of the switch. So what most people do, or I should say what most electricians do, is they just take this wire and just wrap it around the screw terminal on the switch itself, or the outlet, whatever it may be. I hate that. Since all the electrical stuff that I build is for portable stuff, that's like, it's crazy to me because it can vibrate loose. So I personally hate that. I just crimp ring terminals onto everything. In my mind, it's just a better connection. So even though this is a temporary thing, I just don't know how temporary it's gonna be. So I'm gonna pop this ground off here. I'm gonna grab a 5-way Wago here. So we're gonna ground the switch to the box. And then this is gonna be the ground to our lights. And this is the ground from, this is gonna be the ground to the outlet. And this is the ground from our supply. Okay, so all of our grounds are connected here. Let's see, these are the lights. Okay, so I'm gonna crimp a ring terminal onto the lights here, because this is Gonna come off the switch. Okay. All right, let's hook everything up now. Or actually, let's tie our neutrals here before we do that. So we've got 3 neutrals to tie. So this is our supply neutral, the outlet neutral, and this is the lights. Okay. Okay, and then this is going to be our supply to the lights. Okay. Okay. Switch installed. Now let's make everything pretty. So to make everything nice looking, I'm just using these cable staples here. All right, so this is finished up for now. I'm sure that many of you, maybe while I was doing this, is playing some type of drinking game as to how many NEC violations I've made while I've been building this. But alas, I'm going to head to my shop and grind down those boxes, and I'll be back. All right, so Home Depot trip number 3 yielded me another better option that I missed the last time I was there. So they had these circular junction boxes here that had these mount tabs, and this is PVC. So these little light mount brackets do come with longer screws. So I'm going to use these because I think I'm going to need the length, because that box is just slightly recessed. And then they have this little back nut that goes on there. That's going to go like that. I'm going to tighten this down, and then we're just going to, it's got enough that we can make sure it's level. So I'm going to do that first. Yeah, pretty close actually. Never underestimate a good eyeballing. Yeah, it's pretty close. All right, we can tighten this down. And then once the fixture's on there, we can shore it up. Okay, so let's just strip this guy now. For this connection, I'm going to use a waterproof butt splice, which, beyond being a wonderful thing to make sure that your connection doesn't get wet, is also a fun thing to say. Waterproof butt splice. Yep, I'm an adult, I promise. Okay. So for this, we're just matching colors here. Black is obviously hot. We're gonna match black to black. Even if you don't know that, just match the colors. And we're gonna crimp our neutral in here. Okay, now to make this a waterproof connection, we just need to get a heat gun and shrink these down. Ooh, looks nice. So these come with these little Torx screws. And if you don't have a Torx driver, it's okay, they give you one. It's good on Phillips for giving you Torx. I love Torx. Ah, looks great. All right, we'll get the other one done. So actually, on second thought, before we get the other one in, I do want to get this one tied in. And let's make sure that it works. Not that it wouldn't. There's no reason why it wouldn't, but alas, you never know. All right. Let's see if it works. Hey, all right. No sparks is generally a good sign also. All right, everybody, that wraps this up. Lights are on and mounted. I'm gonna see if I can steal you guys a good shot at night so you can see how actually, how bright these things are. But they're looking good. Can recommend. The Phillips Hue Lucca light. Very, very cool. I have these now on the back of the house and on the front of the house. So if you miss me installing these on the garage, check the video in the upper right-hand corner. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Catch you on the next one.